Unmuted.
Hello, my name is Isabella Perez, Recreation Leader for the City of Socorro. Thank you for joining today's meeting. Before the meeting begins, we would like to remind our guests to remove all hats and silence all electronic devices. No destructive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to ejection and possible prosecution.
Hola, mi nombre es Judy Rodríguez, secretaria de Planificación de la Ciudad de Socorro. Gracias por participar en la reunión de hoy. Antes de que comience la reunión, nos gustaría recordarles a nuestros invitados favor de quitarse los sombreros y silenciar todos los dispositivos electrónicos. No se tolerará ningún comportamiento perturbador ni exabrupto y los infractores estarán sujetos a expulsión y posible procesamiento.
It is 6:01 p.m. This meeting is called to order. Item number 2, Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence led by Campestre Elementary School, Socorro Middle School, and Socorro High School. We'd like to thank these students. So when I mention your name, would you please come forward? We will be handing out a token of appreciation. Kevin Marrufo. Thank you very much. Jocelyn Marrufo. Jaylene Marrufo. Thank you very much. And Jesus Marrufo. Thank you very much. More pictures?
Thank God I was doing it.
Ready? 1, 2, big smiles.
Thank you, Marucho family.
Item number 3, establishment of quorum.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Here.
Alejandro Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Ivy Avalos.
Here.
Rudy Cruz.
Present.
And Yvonne Colombia Lobos is absent. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 4, public comment.
Mayor, we have 2 speakers for public comment. Our first speaker is Gabriela Fraga.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council. For the record, my name is Gabriela Fraga. I'm with County Commissioner Ileana Holguin's office here for Precinct 3. And I'm just coming to invite you all, I don't know if you've heard of the multi-year community capital improvement community meetings that are happening. There's 3 remaining meetings, and they're all going to be here on the east side. There's one coming up here at Isleta High School this Saturday from 10 to 11:30. One on Tuesday at Americas High School at 5:30, and then on the 30th, there's also one in Fabens High School at 10. And these are very important for the community to give our input in what they would like for the county to spend the money on. So I can leave some flyers here for you all to pass out or leave on your website. There's also a QR code in case you cannot participate in person. You can do it remotely. And then also, there is a run on Sunday that I wanted to make everyone aware of. I don't know if maybe you all are already participating, but there's a Deputy Peter John Herrera run, and it is not too late to go ahead and register. There's late registration on the 23rd, and then you can also register on Sunday, I apologize. That's when the race is. Check-in is at 6 in the morning, and it's going to be held at Ascarate Park. I can also leave some packages here, some packets, if anybody's interested, to go ahead and sign up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Roberto Garza.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I have Mr. Roberto Garza and Mr. Ismael Samaniego with the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Lone Star Chapter 393, and they'll be presenting the Purple Heart sign to the city this evening.
So we're here. There's your sign, your beautiful sign that you can display, on the location you're choosing here in the city. We're still very honored for the fact that you are now the second city in the county to become a Purple Heart city. So with that, we'd love to take pictures with you and present you the sign officially.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Is that all our speakers?
Those are all our speakers, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve? Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Now moving on to regular agenda, public hearings and ordinances. Item number 10, public hearing of an ordinance number 578, amendment number 1, amendment to decrease expenditures by $3,050, 0 cents, fiscal year 2023 through 2024. It is 6:10 p.m. Public hearing is now open. Any speakers on this item?
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody here like to speak on this item? As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:11 p.m. Item number 11, second reading and adoption of ordinance 578, Amendment 1, amendment to decrease expenditures by $3,050.00 fiscal year 2023 through 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Adriana Rodarte, City Manager. This item is to approve the first budget amendment for this fiscal year to decrease the expenditures by $3,050. The backup provides an explanation on the line items that are being increased and the line items that are being decreased. Do you all have any questions?
No questions? No questions.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Thank
Cesar
you.
Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Item number 12, public hearing of an ordinance approving the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 11, Block 3, Haciendas del Valle, Unit 2, subdivision located at 11721 Valle del Paseo Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for duplexes. It is 6:12 p.m. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item? As there are no speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:12 p.m. Item number 13, second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of Lot 11, Block 3, Haciendas del Valle, Unit 2, subdivision located at 11721 Valle del Paseo Drive, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential to allow for duplexes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lorraine Quimito, City Planner. Item 13 on the agenda for your consideration today is a rezoning request for 11,721 Valle del Paseo. Some general information regarding the property. It is currently zoned R1, Single Family Residential. Property owner, CAP Remodeling and Representative Carlos Pinales. The lot is a little over 20,000 square feet in size. The land use is currently vacant, and the future land use map projects this property for single-family residential development. In summary, the request is for approval of the rezoning from R1 to R2 to allow for duplexes. The planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the request with the condition that access be limited to Valle del Paseo Drive. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to approve the request for rezoning at the February 20th meeting with a condition that the access be limited to Valle del Paseo Drive and a maximum of 2 duplexes be placed on the property. The property is located northwest of the intersection of Oyetka and Valle Lindo Drive. It is zoned R1. The properties to the north, east, and south are R1. The property on the west, across on Oyetka, is R2. These are photographs of the property taken from Oyetka Drive. The aerial shows that the land use for the property is vacant, with single-family residential units to the north, south, and east, and the multifamily to the west. The original plat for Haciendas del Valle Unit 2 had 84 residential units, and there are no commercial units, and currently there are 5 vacant lots in this subdivision. Public notice was sent out to residents within 200 feet of the property. At the time of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, no correspondence was received either in support or against the request. After the meeting, a resident did submit a letter showing support for the duplexes, but he was not in a concurrence with the limiting of access to the property to the residential via del Paseo Street, and preferred that the traffic be split up between the two streets. This is the site plan showing the two duplexes, ponding in the center, and access to the property via Valle del Prado. And with that, staff can answer any questions.
Mayor, I have one.
Mr. Cruz?
Ms. Quimero, good evening. On the backup documentation, I'm seeing that staff's recommendation is for the approval with the condition that the property owners or access be through Valle del Paseo. And then the P&Z's recommendation is approval with the condition that access be from Valle del Prado.
Oh, I apologize, that's
I
a
just want to know
typo.
what we're voting on so that for the record, we're voting.
Valle del Paseo.
Del Paseo, okay, okay, thank you.
Mr. Garcia?
I just want to make sure if the motion I made is with the staff recommendations, or would like to make another motion?
No, it's with the staff recommendation.
So,
That's the agenda.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Item number 14, public hearing of an ordinance approving the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of a portion of Robert E. Nix Survey number 304, abstract number 10169, and a portion of Robert E. Nix Survey number 305, abstract number 9871, located at 16400 Gateway West Boulevard, Socorro, Texas, from C2 General Commercial and unclassified to ICMUD Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments to allow for distribution and warehousing facilities. It is 6:18 PM. Public hearing is now open.
Mayor, we have a speaker, Adam Thomas.
Thank you, council members, for having us tonight. My name is Adam Thomas. I'm here on behalf of Trammell Crow Company, together with my colleagues Clayton and Blake, as well as Jorge Grajeda from CEA, civil engineer. We have a couple of slides. I don't know if we, but we are really thankful to be here in front of you tonight and to potentially be doing work here in Socorro, Texas. Tell you a little bit about Trammell Crow Company. We are a national commercial real estate developer. While we're headquartered in Dallas, Texas, we have about 600 employees spread throughout both the United States and Europe, and have been doing commercial real estate for some time. Myself, Clayton, and Blake are here from the Austin office of Trammell Crow, where we mostly develop multifamily, industrial, and office projects. A couple that we had on the screen to potentially show were everything from high-rise downtown concrete apartment buildings to industrial parks like the one we would like to build here in Socorro. To speak a little bit to our industrial experience, the three of us are from the industrial team in Austin. One project we wanted to show you was in Austin, one we recently completed, a 7-building, there we go. You can go 2 more. Oh, cool, thank you, Lorraine. So yeah, just quick glimpse into kind of some of the projects we develop, everything from office towers to industrial parks, multifamily as well. To speak to our industrial experience, we've done about $500 million worth of industrial just in the past 5 years out of the Austin office. Most of the tenants that we prefer to work with are in logistics, warehousing, manufacturing, research and development, as well as some just general retail. A couple of projects we wanted to highlight to show you kind of what we like to build. This is Park 183, which I began speaking about earlier. It's a 7-building, about 950,000 square foot industrial park in Austin. The types of tenants here, again, are warehousing, logistics, manufacturing, R&D, and retail. This here is a build-to-suit distribution center, about 220,000 square feet for a confidential e-commerce client outside San Antonio, Texas. And here we have a 750,000 square foot industrial park in California. And while the Austin team did not work on this project directly, I wanted to bring it up because it's very similar to what we're proposing here in Socorro. To speak a little bit, if I can, before I sit down, to the types of tenants we like to work with. For confidentiality reasons, I can't put a screen full of logos up there as much as I would love to. But we prefer to work with big Fortune 500 tenants. We've done business with Amazon, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and of course FedEx, UPS. So big Fortune 500 companies is who we prefer to do business with. Thank you.
No other speakers?
No other speakers, Mayor.
As there are no other speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:22 p.m. Item number 15, second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving the proposed amendment to the City of Socorro's master plan and rezoning of a portion of Robert E. Nix Survey number 304, abstract number 10169, and a portion of Robert E. Nix Survey number 305, abstract number 9871, located at 16400 Gateway West Boulevard, Socorro, Texas, from C2 General Commercial and unclassified to ICMUD Industrial Commercial Mixed-Use Developments to allow for distribution and warehousing facilities.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 15, rezoning request for 16,400 Gateway West Boulevard. The lot is a little under 60 acres. It is currently commercial, and the future land use map for the City of Socorro designates this area as commercial and light industrial. In summary, the request is again to request approval of a rezoning from C2 and unclassified to ICMUD Industrial Commercial Mixed Use to allow for distribution and warehousing facilities. Planning and Zoning staff recommends approval of the request. Planning and Zoning Commission voted for approval at their February 20th meeting. This is the location map. The property is located on Gateway Boulevard West, just half a mile north of Darrington and Gateway West Boulevard. The portion of the property facing the gateway is what is zoned C2 in red. The remainder in gray is the unclassified zoning. The zoning to the north that is within the city limits is commercial C2, general commercial, and M1, light industrial, with the remainder of the surrounding zoning being unclassified. The area where you can see the aerial, that is all county. These property photos were taken from Gateway Boulevard West, and you can see the existing trucking company. The aerial shows the land uses. The property, again, commercial, heavy commercial trucking, and the commercial to the south in the City of Socorro portion, vacant, and then vacant to the south with industrial yard to the east. The portion in the county is a subdivision that has a mix of various residential, commercial uses, as well as several vacant lots. Public notice was sent out to property owners within 200 feet of the property. No comments were received either in support or against this rezoning request. As part of the ICMUD application, the applicant is required to submit a development plan. Depicted here are the 3 industrial buildings that are being proposed, ponding and access to the gateway, as well as a third access point to the county area to the north. A development schedule which has a proposed estimated completion date of October 2025. A utility plan, they are coordinating with the utilities to bring services to the property. And then just a summary of the traffic impact analysis, the points where they gathered traffic counts, provided traffic counts for the existing conditions, and then the future projected counts with the development of these facilities. With that, staff can answer any questions, and again, the applicant and their representative is here to answer any questions as well.
Any questions, comments?
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Item number 16, public hearing of an ordinance approving a final plat for Valle Nuevo Unit 1, being a portion of tracks 1B, 1B1, 1C, 1C1, 1D, 1D3, 1H, 2A, 2C1, 4A, 2B, 4B1, 4B2, 4C, 6A, 6B, and 6C. Block 5, Socorro Grant, Socorro, Texas, and a variance to allow for lots small than 6,000 square feet. It is 6:27 PM. Public hearing is now open.
No speakers, Mayor.
Would anybody like to speak on this item?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Enrique Escobar. I'm the developer. We're not asking for a variance. You already granted the variance. So it's just a final plat. The subdivision is already built. It was already approved. So I don't think we need another variance. It's just the final plat. Thank you.
Any other speakers? As there are no other speakers, public hearing is now closed at 6:28 PM. Item number 17, second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving a final plat for the Valle Nuevo Unit 1, being a portion of tracks 1B, 1B1, 1C, 1C1, 1D, 1D3, 1H, 2A, 2C1, 4A, 2B, 4B1, 4B2, 4C, 6A, 6B, 6C. Block 5, Socorro Grant, Socorro, Texas, and a variance to allow for lots smaller than 6,000 square feet.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 17 is Valle Nuevo Unit 1, a final plat. Some general information regarding the property. The property owner is Valle Nuevo LLC, the representative Jorge Azcárate, CEA Group. The lot is 56 acres in size, zoned R2 and C2, general commercial. It is currently vacant, and the future land use had projected single-family residential and commercial. The preliminary plat was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission on October the 5th, 2021, with the mentioned variance. And again, the request is for approval of the final plat of Valle Unit 1, and the variance request is just following along with the item, as that is how it was presented as a preliminary. The recommendation of the Planning and Zoning staff is approval of the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted for approval of the final plat at their March 12th Planning and Zoning meeting. The property is located west of the intersection of North Loop and Nuevo Waco Tanks Boulevard. It is zoned R2 with commercial on North Loop. The zoning around the property is a mix of agricultural, residential R2, R1, and R3 to the south, and the ICMUD to the west. These are property photos taken from North Loop Drive up top, and the bottom photograph is a photo taken from Nevares Road. From the aerial, you can see a lot of the dirt work that had already taken place. Probably this photo is from, this aerial is from the end of 2023. So the area to the west also highly, it's still vacant, and a mix of industrial and commercial, the residential to the south, and the vacant land to the west. Again, City Council approved the preliminary plat and most recently extended the preliminary plat at your January 25th meeting due to a great deal of coordination that was involved in the development of this subdivision with TxDOT for access on North Loop, the median cut at North Loop, coordination with the irrigation district for the crossings at 2 laterals, and then the coordination with the city and city's engineers for the extension, the portion that would be the future extension of Nuevo Hueco Tanks Boulevard. And this is the final plat for your consideration. With that, staff can answer any questions, and the owner is here to answer any questions as well.
Mr. Reyes?
We already approved the preliminary plat. If we wanted to deny this item, would it had been in the preliminary plat for changes, or?
The plat is very the state guidelines for denying the plats is very specific. This plat satisfies all of the requirements of our zoning. Any considerations that probably we could have asked for probably should have taken place at the preliminary.
Okay, and there was no changes done after that, right?
There were some changes after the preliminary. And that all took place before I got here. There are some changes to the number of lots, the sizes of the number of ponding areas, and this is all to help coordinate the city facilitating the future extension of Nuevo Hueco Tanks Boulevard.
Mayor, good evening, Council. Jim Martinez, City Attorney. Mr. Reyes, to answer your question, I think Lorraine got it right, but to answer your question, the system, the process helps. The preliminary plat is approved, and the preliminary plat is essentially the recipe for what's going to be the improvements that are going to be constructed. And so when you have a final plat, as long as they built what they agreed to build, they built out the improvements that the city required them to build. Well, then really the only question is for the council's assessment is, did they meet that recipe or not? Did they build the right stuff or not? And the changes that can sometimes happen between preliminary plat and final plat are usually fairly minor, and the city can essentially negotiate for more stuff. You know, we want wider sidewalks, we want a drainage detention pond with greater capacity, or in this case, we want some future access or future right-of-way for an extension of Nuevo Hueco tanks, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I have one for the developer.
Mr. Cruz? Mr. Escobar, would you please step up?
Yes.
Mr. Escobar, I'm seeing some proposed commercial in the preliminaries. How soon after will that come in after the residential's built?
I'm sorry, but I can't hear you.
I'm seeing some proposed commercial in the preliminary. How soon after will that come after the residential's built?
And again, I'm sorry, I can't hear the last part of your question.
I'm seeing some commercial in the preliminary plat. How soon after will that be built after?
It's already sold, sir. There's actually, the two properties that are on North Loop, the buyer is dying to start some shopping centers. And then the pieces that are on Nevada's Road is gonna be, I believe it's gonna be an office complex and maybe a corner store. So there's
Okay.
only 4 pieces of commercial. And if, for those of you that weren't here, The only reason we asked for a variance when we did is because we're giving the city, I believe it's 7 acres of right-of-way in order to extend Nuevo Hueco tanks. We redid the corner of Nevares and Nuevo Hueco coming in. If you go down there, you'll see a new intersection. And not only that, after we had the design, the city came to us through their engineers and asked us to make our ponding areas bigger. So when you build your road, you don't have to look for ponding or tear down houses. We've already accommodated for the water. So there was a lot of negotiation done. And we actually ended up with a little bit less than the density we would have had if we would have not given you the land.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Moving on to Grants Department, item number 18, discussion and action to approve Resolution 792, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Office of the Governor OOG, Homeland Security Grants Division, FY 2025 Local Border Security Program, LBSP, grant for the Socorro Police Department. There is no match requirement for this grant.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. We are requesting your approval on a resolution for a grant application to the Office of the Governors for the Local Border Security Program, otherwise known as Border Star. The Socorro Police Department has participated in this grant since 2018. Your approval will allow us to continue participating in this program. There is no match requirement, but a resolution is required by the funding agency.
Any questions or comments?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz is absent, and Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Item number 19, discussion and action to ratify a letter of support for the City of El Paso's 2024 Climate Pollution Reduction Grants application for the Paso del Norte Trail Project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We're requesting your approval to ratify this letter of support that was provided to the City of El Paso. They are applying on behalf of the region for the Paso Norte Trail Development and Construction Project. On February 8th, City Council did approve our participation in the City of El Paso's Office of Climate and Sustainability Leadership Steering Committee. As part of this committee, staff does attend meetings and proposes projects that would not only benefit Socorro residents, but also meet some of the climate initiative goals that are set forth by the EPA, including a reduction in air pollution and greenhouse gases. If selected for funding, this will allow the engineering, design, and construction of the Paso Norte Trail segments in Socorro that have not received funding yet. And that includes the trail along the Franklin Canal on Alameda, as well as the 4D Paso Norte Trail on the Franklin feeder. Lastly, we're also requesting additional amenities on the trail segments that have already received funding, but not received enough funding or any funding for important amenities like solar lighting, electric charging stations, benches, tree canopies, all of those good amenities that people enjoy as they walk or run on a trail.
Questions?
I got a question.
Mr. Reyes?
How far are we from seeing Socorro, Paso Norte Trail in Socorro?
So we actually received a grant award from the Texas Transportation Commission this past October, and they awarded the City of Socorro $16 million for the design and construction of several segments of the Paso Norte Trail. The longest one is along Socorro Road. Right now, we're in the process of developing the advanced funding agreement with TxDOT. Once we enter into that agreement, then we can start the engineering and design phase of that project. And then we expect that we will be able to let that project, I believe 2028, but I don't have my timeline with me, but you should start seeing construction of that project in the next few years.
Any other questions or comments?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos is absent.
Item number 20, discussion and action to ratify a letter of support for the Rio Grande Council of Governments FY 2025 Community Projects request to the Office of Congresswoman Veronica Escobar for a regional communications equipment project to benefit law enforcement agencies in the Rio Grande Council of Governments region, including the Socorro Police Department.
Motion to approve.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are requesting your approval to ratify this letter of support that was submitted to the Rio Grande Council of Governments. The Rio Grande Council of Governments has been working with Chief Rojas on multi-agency interoperable communications project that will be submitted to the Office of Congresswoman Veronica Escobar. If funded, this project will provide funding to some of the law enforcement agencies within the Rio Grande Council of Governments in order to purchase interoperable communications equipment to increase public safety. There is no financial commitment through this letter of support, but the Socorro Police Department would benefit from this project.
Questions, comments?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos is absent.
Thank you. Moving on to Police Department, item number 21, update regarding the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement Agency Audit Report conducted on February 8th, 2024.
Good evening, Council. Robert Rojas, Chief of Police for the City of Socorro. So this is just a report, or an agency audit report that was given to us. We had TICO come in several months ago. They come in, they audit our files, they ensure that we are doing everything by the book. This one happens to do with pretty much onboarding and to make sure that we are keeping up our training documents. And I just put it on council agenda so that you all could see that our agency is headed in the right direction and that our audit report showed no deficiencies at all. And if you guys have any questions?
Chief, I have one.
Yes.
Mr. Cruz?
Can you just very briefly describe I guess, what they look for when they do audit a police department for this council and the public so that they're aware of the types of things that they're looking for when they say no deficiencies were found?
So absolutely, sir. In this one specifically, what they were doing was checking on personnel files. So TCOL is the licensing, the commission that the state uses to give us our license in order to be a peace officer. So they come in, they audit our personnel files to ensure that our licenses are active, that we're maintaining our license, that we're attending the classes that we need to attend, the classes we need to attend. And then also on this one specifically, they checked all the new employees that the office or the agency had onboarded in the last year. They specifically went through those to ensure that we were doing everything by the book on those. So that's typically how they're doing it. They're checking, they're random audits, but they're checking the most recent. For instance, the 14 that they checked, they were checking the background form. There's a certain form that has to be added, included, and then submitted to, and then on file. So those are the types of files that TCOL audits.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments?
No action, Mayor.
Oh, it's an update. Item number 22, update regarding the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement 2023 Racial Profiling Report.
again, Robert Rojas, Chief of Police, City of Socorro. So this is a requirement by law for us to present our racial profiling report over to council and to the public. The state of Texas has chosen the TCO to be the person who holds, or the entity that holds all the data. So what we do is we go on to their website, we import the data that we have and that we've kept all year long related to traffic stops. And this is racial profiling. So I put a presentation together just to kind of give some background, to give our numbers, and then answer any questions. So the first slide is pretty much the background and what's required by law. CCP is the requirement by law for us to present it to TCO and also to present it to council. And then the 2.132 of the CCP says what kind of data that we have to gather. We have to gather the race and ethnicity of the individual detained, whether a search was conducted, whether the peace officer knew the ethnicity or the race of the person prior to stop, whether the peace officer used force, where the location of the stop was or the type of road in which the stop occurred, and then the reason for the stop. So in 2023, the Socorro Police Department made 6,370 traffic stops during 2023. And the following charts are the demographics of those stops. So in those stops, it'll show the different percentage in where the roads are that we're conducting the traffic stops. A majority of them are on state roads and city roads, 40% about each. And then on all the stops, there was no race known prior to the stop. The next slide is the race and ethnicity. So the Hispanic and Latino race is overwhelmingly the percentage of people that we stop, because it is obviously a demographic of our community. The next one is the gender and the breakdown of the gender. So 63% of the traffic stops were males, and then 36% were females, and then it has it broken down with the race of each of the genders. Now, the next one, you have the reason for the stop, and then a graph showing the reason for the stop. A majority of the stops were conducted for moving violations, and then followed by vehicle traffic violations. So that has to do with moving violations would be like speeding, running a stop sign, things like that. And then the other one is going to be like equipment violations, no turn light, no signal, no license plate light. The following slide shows how many searches we conducted on those traffic stops. So out of all the traffic stops that we did, only 5% of them resulted in searches. And then it also has the breakdown of the vehicles stopped and then the differences. So on that right side, what it's showing is that there's not a big difference in the type of people that we're searching and the type of people that we're not searching. So there's not a big discrepancy, which is a good thing. And then here has the reasons for search. So officers need reasons to search, and oftentimes they're done by consent, and that's what happened in our case. Many times people consent to our search, and then the second one is going to be they have probable cause. And then you have the other different types, but those are significantly lower. The following shows out of all those searches how many times contraband or the different types of contraband were found in the as far as the ethnicity and in the race. And then the following slide will show that drugs was majority of what our seizures were after searches. And towards the end, the results of the stop, overwhelming majority of them are verbal warnings. On this note, I will tell you that we're working on an e-ticket system for next year. We've been kind of fighting through it since I've gotten here. That is going to actually spit out this report automatically, because at the stop, it'll gather all the information, whether it be from the driver's license swipe or from what the officers are entering into the system. But in addition to that, is verbal warnings will be go by the wayside. And that's something that I really want to move towards, where it's either a written warning or a written citation. Verbal warning, oftentimes people kind of are unclear of why they were stopped. they'll get stopped by the police and they really don't know why, or the officer maybe didn't explain it as clearly. With a written warning, which would be the same as a verbal warning, except that they get a piece of paper that tells them, hey, look, this is why you were stopped. This is the officer that stopped you. This is the location. And it gives them all the information instead of a verbal warning where they wouldn't necessarily get all that information. Following is the reasons for arrest on all those traffic stops. And then this is the traffic stops in previous years in 2021 and 2022. And you'll see that although there is a difference, they're pretty much within a couple hundred. There's not a significant increase or decrease. However, I do expect next year for our traffic stops to go up, simply because of some of the programs that we're going to be starting to reduce our crime here in the city of Socorro. And out of all those traffic stops, 0 racial profiling complaints were received that I could locate in our system as far as traffic stops. And then, of course, the Socorro Police Department is going to continue to provide this information as required by law and then present it over to you all in a timely manner. As a note, this was due to TCOL on the 1st of, I believe, of March, and we knocked it out maybe a week before. So I think we're doing really good things, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any questions.
Questions? Mr. Reyes?
Chief, well, first of all, thank you for bringing this report. If anybody from the public wanted to go through this report, is it available to the public, or they would have to ask for it?
So I think you bring up a very valid point. I couldn't tell you what they've done in the past, but this is something that we should absolutely put on our webpage so that people could access the information. However, you can go to TCOL and you can obtain that information from TCOL as well as any other agency in the area or throughout the state of Texas. The point is that they wanted it published. They want it housed centrally in Texas, and then they want to be able to publish it. But it is available.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to planning and zoning, item number 23, discussion and action to approve event permit for a church kermesse at St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church at 673 Old Hueco Tanks Road, and fee waiver request.
Motion to approve.
Second. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 23, an event permit and fee waiver request for a church kermesse at St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church. The event is scheduled to take place June 28th, 29th, and 30th at the church, 673 Old Hueco Tanks Road. The hours begin each day at 5 and end at 12, 1, and 11. Planning and zoning staff recommends approval of the request. Here's a site plan depicting the activities and the layout on the church site. With that, staff can answer any questions.
Questions, comments?
It's about time.
Get a mess time? Yes,
Yeah,
agree.
they didn't have one for the last 3-4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Moving on to mayor and council, item number 24, discussion and action to approve that every Monday, City of Socorro recognizes our service members and veterans through our social media platforms and website.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cruz, would you like to open?
Sure. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council. In an effort to help build a list of names that are going to go up on the new memorial that's going to be built soon at Cougar Park, I'd ask for the staff's recommendations as well as this council's recommendations for the honoring and recognition of a veteran either Monday or Friday. Again, I ask for staff's recommendations to see what would work best. I'd like for the submission of a photograph, maybe a brief summary or bio on the individual, and that way we can post this on our social media platform. And I'd also ask that the council members on this table here also assist in providing any information that they might have as far as like members of their family or friends or neighbors who might want to be involved in this so that we can start building the list now, and it's ready to go. Once the memorial's built, we can slap those names on there and honor our veterans. That's it.
Any questions, comments?
Got a comment.
Mr. Reyes?
Just for everybody that's listening or watching us, this is for all the veterans for Socorro, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
There used to be groups, but the city wants everybody to participate, and everybody's welcome to come to a city and participate.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Any other questions or comments?
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Aye.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Mr. Martinez, do we have anything for 25, 26, or 27? Okay, do we have a motion to delete these items?
Motion to delete 25, 26, and 27.
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz. Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz. And Ivan Colom Villalobos is absent.
Meeting adjourns at 6:57 PM.